Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting podcast, episode 153, where we shall be asking the all-important timeless question, are placebos better than drugs? In terms of medical treatment, of course. Just for clarification, in the YouTube algorithm, we're talking about medicinal drugs. We're not talking about other kinds. So, joining me for this fascinating discussion is Martin. How are you? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been one of them weeks. It's been busy. I did have a day off on Tuesday though. I was meant to go and see my daughter's spring concert that was then rained off, which was annoying.
It?
And she was a bit upset. Yeah, it was. I wanted to see it, but they put the concert outside in a British May. So it's you're asking for trouble there. But anyway, it'll be rescheduled. Apparently, if it doesn't go ahead this next time, they just scrap it, which I think is quite brutal. But needs must.
Yeah. Wow, that's an efficient school. They don't have time to waste.
I know.
Wow.
I know. I also refurbished a garden table. So
That's quite
there we
nice.
go. Yeah, it was a free one. Yeah. A free one that someone was going to chuck away. Sanded it all down, put a whole load of teak oil on it, and now it looks great. It looks really good.
Yeah.
So, I think something like that keeps you, something quite physical, keeps your brain going, a sense of accomplishment.
Exactly. Say, I've done a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. It's also, there's great joy. I love this reusing furniture and things like that. So many things can be just passed on. You don't have to throw things away. It's great.
No, exactly.
Some things obviously need to be thrown away, but
Use bandages, preferably.
Yes, that kind of thing.
Not just one thing.
We could go down that path into some dark places, but let's not. For you and our audience, I have grabbed a riddle.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, well, I do want to ask you how you are, Robin.
Oh,
it doesn't seem. Yeah, it doesn't really seem fair.
Biggest riddle of all.
If it's just me. Before we get into the riddle, how are you? Let's do that.
Thanks for asking. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm doing well. I feel like I'm doing. So my biggest success, if I can say this, in life, I think, has always been management of my own expectations. I've always lived by the philosophy of expecting the worst. So right now, as people who listen to this podcast regularly will know, I'm going through some exciting big changes in my life, and it's not as bad as I feared. Is the long and short of it. So I feel pretty good.
I thought it was going to be terrible.
So far, it's okay. I'm sure things. There'll be days, there'll be moments, and there'll be years possibly to come where I think, this is as bad as I thought it was going to be. But the initial phases of being a dad are okay, pretty good.
But not today. Yes, good.
So I was gonna comment on the weather because it's kind of muggy and sticky right now. It's a very weird British May. It kind of feels autumnal and peak summer at the same time as it's barely spring. It's so bizarre. Yeah. What I will say, though, is weather, and in particular on the topic of organising events to take place outside, might be something that I suggest we talk about in our Patreon exclusive, a little more interesting.
Okay, this sounds... I was going to say it sounds interesting, but weather and organising events outside.
I know.
I mean, if you want to hear more of us and talk about weather and organising events outside, then you can.
Well, let's be honest. I really wanted to pick your brain, Martin, as somebody who has studied politics and who has great ideas in terms of marketing and presentation. I'd love to know how your approach to making a major political announcement outside in the weather would be, given recent events in Britain. But I don't know why I'm being so cryptic, but I feel like being cryptic. No, I want to ask you about our Prime Minister's announcement about the general election.
Good. No, let's do that. Sounds good.
Yeah. I feel like it's very rare that politics can be funny, but sometimes it's funny. Anyway, so we'd like to hear a riddle.
Yeah, go on then.
Oh, great. Where is the only place where today comes before yesterday?
Okay.
Where is the only place where today comes before yesterday? Answer to be revealed at the end of the episode. And I have I get the inkling that maybe you know this one, but you figured it out. Clever boy.
We'll see.
But for those of you at home, try to think about it over the course of this episode. No cheating, no looking it up. We trust you not to look it up. Not that it matters, because I'm not asking you to give me the answer, but for your own satisfaction, have a think about that. before we get on to the main topic of this episode, which is, of course, are placebos better than drugs? Any comments from our lovely listeners that you'd like to respond to?
Well, I got one from the episode Plants You Never Knew Could Kill You. Dramatically named.
It's a great name.
From Amy Licious, who says, I live in an area with a lot of giant hogweed. If you get any on your skin, the part becomes ultra sensitive to sunlight, causing 2 or 3 degree burns.
Oh.
The effects can last up to 2 years.
Whoa.
That's amazing. I did not know that it was that long term. It had such long term effects.
Yeah.
That's quite incredible. Although we did cover it, but that wasn't one of the things that came up. So good additional knowledge there. And then Amy goes on to say, problem is I'm only 5'3", so even since some of the normal hogweed is giant to me. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the perils of being a shorty.
I mean, I find it fascinating that
it
makes you more sensitive to sunlight. That's
interesting.
Weird. Like that must be, I guess, something in the chemicals is like a magnifying glass over ants. It kind of like focuses the sun. I don't know. That's weird.
Interesting.
That's very strange. Well, I've got one from Uncovered, our second channel, actually, from Mr. E. Great name, by the way. Great name. Who commented on the recent upload on that channel, which was my video in Whitby, in Yorkshire, in North England.
Ah, yes.
In the footsteps of Dracula. My little nerdy video about going to the place where Dracula is set and where Bram Stoker drew a lot of inspiration for the novel Dracula. And it's one of those fascinating occasions where I think you don't realize how something so iconic, a fictional creation as iconic as Dracula, is so tied to a specific place in terms of the creation of that character. Anyway, Mr. E says, keep up the good work and uploads, guys. Always a great day when a new video gets uploaded on this channel. Takes me back to the old days of the channel that should not be named. Also, the person behind Robin in the tunnel gave me a jump scare. Lol. That's a good moment in the tunnel. Yeah. Good moment in that video, so go check it out. And go over and subscribe and give a like. We've got a few videos up there now. At the moment, we're doing 1 video a month. All of our little video essays and documentaries are going over to our second channel, Uncovered. So yeah, go check it out. I have another comment as well, if you don't mind.
Humor me, please do.
This one's also on our Plants You Never Knew Could Kill You podcast from James Linton, writer. And he says, now that Alex knows all these plants, he could always poison a new SNP leader and take the position by force. And then just to clarify, he says, JK.
Yeah, he could do, but we wouldn't want to. That getting too dark. There have been some pretty tragic attacks on MPs, so maybe we'll stay clear of that, even to jest, because we know that the police will take a threat like that incredibly serious, especially in Scotland.
Yes, they would. Although, I mean, where is Alex? It begs the question.
Well, exactly.
Did he see that comment? I think maybe. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens in politics in Scotland in the next 24 hours, and we may find out where Alex is up to. What he's up to.
That's genuinely not a threat. We don't see Alex in handcuffs being dragged away. But actually, where is Alex? I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I mean, I am half expecting to see a video of him being dragged into a police car out of a restaurant, having had a succulent Chinese meal.
I can't believe that's great. It's definitely gained popularity over the last 12 to 18 months, hasn't it?
Oh, has it? Is it coming back?
I've seen it because it was way back when that we were first introduced to that. About 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
And then that's actually, I've seen it as a meme, with increasing frequency over the last couple of years.
There are a couple of things. I guess this is what happens with aging. Where we used to work together, kind of memes and little things that came up.
Yeah.
There's a font in particular. There's a font that seems to be ubiquitous now. I see in adverts, I see posters, I see it online or everywhere. And I'm like, that we were using that, and it was brand new, and it was just because it was different, at the time.
Yes.
But now it's everywhere. Yeah. I'm like, it's no longer different. Why is everyone?
Which font was it?
Well, Knockout.
Oh, Knockout.
But Knockout or Bebas New. There's a bunch of kind of variants of it. Yeah.
It's such an Alan Partridge thing. That's Knockout font, that is.
Yeah, I know. such a lame nerd.
I like it.
Well, thanks to a certain group of people these Alan Partridge references can keep going and keep coming.
It's got to be a very small subset that have any clue even who Alan Partridge is. But
they're wonderful people for tolerating this. All of our lovely listeners, of course, everyone who watches us on YouTube or listens to us on the podcast platform of your choice, we're so grateful to you. But we're especially grateful to all of our Patreon supporters and YouTube members, who are wonderful people whose support literally keeps us going. And in particular, I would like to thank Amy Licious, Cindy Hafner, James, Rashad Najar, Caleb Wilkerson, Kurt Jones, John Baker, Janie, Henny Ruffle, The Super Show Podcast, Nicholas Dill, Emmett Tapia, Ahmad, Peaswad, Josh Chomatek, The Filthy Casual, and Simon Workman. Thank you all so much. You're wonderful people. You are just the best. The best of the best, in fact. But everyone who listens to us is the best. And I'm so grateful to everyone who gives us the time of day.
Exactly. And let's go back to the age-old question of where do you listen to the podcast? I always love hearing those. If you haven't commented already on where you listen to the podcast, don't make it up, but there might be a shout out to maybe some of the more unusual ones, if there are any unusual ones. Nothing dirty. Let's not go into that, but some more unusual ones. Might have to read them out. So let us know.
Yeah, please do. Keep them coming. And Martin, are you ready to move on to...
Ready as I'll ever be.
Placebos.
Yes, let's do it.
Placebos. What are they? And could they be better than actual medicine? Martin, would you be able to just give us a brief description of what a placebo is?
Yes. So, I mean, it can be used across a range of disciplines, but usually it's to do with medicine, isn't it, Robin? When there's a group that are given the medicine, and then there's another control group which are basically tricked, in a sense, lied to, into being given something that looks like the medicine but doesn't contain the active ingredients, and then both groups are then measured in regards to what the effects are of being given either the active ingredients of the medicine or what's essentially usually like a sugar pill, right? Something that doesn't contain it. And the effects of the placebo are, well documented, and also still incredibly interesting.
I mean, I feel like even when I was growing up, which hopefully wasn't that long ago, placebo had a very negative connotation. It was kind of a thing huckster, shyster doctors would do. Like, it's just a sugar pill. It's not real medicine. You're being tricked. And it's only in the context of, as you just say, like medical studies, where I think placebo has become, or rather the placebo effect has become seen as more of a positive thing, right? Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I think there are definitely ethical questions, aren't there, around offering the placebo. Like, if you're in a study where they're trialing the active ingredient versus the placebo, you need to know that that's the case. There's a chance that you might not be given the actual medicine, right? Because if it's quite a severe ailment or illness, you might feel like you are one of the ones kind of missing out, aren't you? But interestingly, it's often the case, and has been more recently, to know that there is an effect of the placebo, even if you're not given the active ingredient. In a nutshell.
Yeah. But which brings us nicely on to the kind of the main thrust of this discussion, the meaty part, in that there have been some studies recently that suggest actually placebos might be more useful than actual drugs in terms of treating people, in particular in the area of pain management. I don't know if I'm putting the kind of spoiling things there, the conclusion of the whole thing, but there were some fascinating studies. Before we get in, though, I just the proposal to talk about this topic made me look it up, because placebo is a funny word, and I thought that's got to be a funny kind of Greek or Latin word. And yes, it is Latin, but I assumed it was like a literal thing, as in it meant empty pill or something like that. But no, it means, it's a verb. It means I shall please. So the idea being that, and this is where kind of the negative connotations may come from, in the sense that somebody who lies to you and says sweet things and makes you feel good is declaring I shall please you, placebo, and that's become attached to anything that makes you feel good without actually doing anything.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So an emptiness. And I think there's often, it seems like in the past, it was often a term used to describe people who would lie to you. These days we just call them politicians. But hey, come here for the hot takes. But in terms of these recent studies, there's one in particular. Well, actually, there's several, but there's one that kind of came up in the news a few years ago. I think it was 2017 in Germany. They did a study of 49 people randomly assigned cream, and the cream was just Vaseline or some kind of Vaseline type cream. And the idea is that the people were divided into two groups, and the cream was packaged in two different forms. One form was a cheap cream, and that's how they introduced it to the patients. They said, this is a cheap kind of off-the-shelf at your local corner shop cream. It was in a cheap, unimpressive packaging. And the other one was given a fancy packaging with a made-up brand name, like Solastan or Celestan, something like that. And the other half were given this Celestan and said, this is a really expensive, over-the-counter kind of drug. But both of them had exactly the same Vaseline in it, which anyone who knows what Vaseline does knows it does nothing in terms of treating or providing pain relief. Yeah. So this study obviously wanted to study the effect of a placebo on pain relief. But in particular, they wanted to study a psychological effect. And they wanted to know if the placebo effect varied at all between the people who thought they were getting an expensive cream and the people who thought they were getting a cheap cream. So what they did was they applied heat. They'd apply the cream and then they'd apply heat to the area of skin with the cream on and say, do you feel the heat? How bad is it? How bad is it before we apply the cream? How bad is it after? And the people who were on the cheap cream reported less discomfort from the heat after they'd applied it than the people who were on the expensive cream. Which suggested that people bring their own expectations to medical treatments.
Yes.
Which is to say that the people who were on the expensive cream, something in their brains said, this should work really well. So when it didn't work, which of course it wouldn't because it was just a placebo, they were more susceptible to noticing the pain. And the people who thought it was cheap and were just kind of like, cheap and cheerful, I don't care, they thought it was actually working. And they were somehow
that's interesting.
Noticing pain less. Yeah.
You'd think that the ones who thought it was an expensive cream would go, oh, this is expensive, therefore it should work.
I would have thought that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder if it's the same of like I don't know if they have this in other countries, but here in the UK we have, your brand name paracetamol, ibuprofen versus the cheap one, which literally just has the name of the drug on the front of the packet for like a tenth of the price.
Yes.
I wonder if it's a similar thing with that. It's like, this is like max strength brand name cold and flu, therefore it should work. And if it doesn't, then you notice it versus the cheap old paracetamol. I'll have a couple of those and see what happens. And then that is interesting. And not necessarily what I'd expect from even a placebo. Okay.
Yeah. So on a kind of related note, in 2021, a scientist from Harvard, whose name is Professor Ted Kapchuk of the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, affiliated with Harvard, has researched placebos and said, obviously placebos won't cure you, but they will make you feel better, or they may make you feel better. And in particular, they're most effective for conditions like pain management, stress-related insomnia, and side effects of cancer treatments like fatigue and nausea.
Right. Okay, interesting. So a lot of these are tend to be longer term, as opposed to acute. Am I correct in thinking? And I mean, if you're thinking about pain management, I remember there was one study where they were looking at like a long term like backache, for example. If you've got a painful back, and almost mixing in. I mean, you might get onto this, but mixing in the placebo with actual pain medicine and treatments, with the idea being that sometimes you'd have the placebo, sometimes you'd have the pain medication, and mixing it up between the two actually prevents you from getting hooked on the pain meds if you were to have them too much. So it's almost like spreading it out, diluting the actual meds, and so it has the knock-on effect. Not only are you thinking, oh, this is the medicine that I'm taking and having the placebo effect, but actually it prevents further addiction from just taking too much of the strong pain medication. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually, based on what Professor Kaptrick says. He says his research shows that the placebo effect, although no one really knows how it works exactly, but it definitely seems to trigger some neurobiological reaction that increases the positive neurotransmitters like endorphins and dopamine to the brain, or rather to the regions of the brain linked to moods, emotional reactions, and self-awareness, which obviously can definitely be therapeutic. If you're feeling good, yes, thanks to endorphins and dopamine, you're going to notice pain less. And so that makes perfect sense in the context of what you just described, of saying, take 2 painkillers, well, and you only actually, one of them is a painkiller and one of them is a placebo. Your brain, you will think, I'm taking 2 painkillers, I feel good, I feel reassured. But actually, you don't need 2 pills of opium or some kind of opium derivative, which is obviously a massive problem, especially in America at the moment. The what is it called, opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
And this is actually the context.
And parts of the UK as well. Yeah, it's growing. Yeah.
And this is the context for some of this research into placebos. Some of these researchers are saying we could actually put this to practical use and say, give people some opioids, but cut it with placebos to prevent the addiction levels that we've got and these problems. Because in particular, I guess an opioid addiction is kind of like the pain relief equivalent of the antibiotic problem, which is the more you use it, the less effective it is. In the case of antibiotics, it's because bacteria evolve, or rather, the bacteria who survive are the ones who are resistant to the antibiotic. So then antibiotics cease to kill bacteria as successive generations inherit those traits that make them resistant to antibiotics. And in the same way, when you become addicted to opium or opioids, pain relief medication, it will be less effective as your body is kind of just used to functioning with it being there. So if you can cut antibiotics and pain relief with placebos, you can get perhaps a similar effect just by tricking the brain into feeling good, because obviously pain ultimately is just a nervous neurological perception. Your skin doesn't actually feel any pain when it gets cut. The pain comes from nerves in your skin sending signals to your brain to say, you've been cut. And the best way it can do that is by making you feel pain.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, one of the crazy things about some of these studies is that you don't even need to be unaware of the placebo for it to work. You can be fully aware that what you're taking is a placebo, right? And still there can be the same effects, the same positive effects of taking a placebo. So I know at the top of the segment when we were speaking about kind of the looking at the original meaning and it being almost a deceptive word for someone that's deceptive and lies to you, giving you something whilst actually taking with the other. The reality is that you can knowingly take a placebo and it can still have the placebo effect.
That's amazing.
And there was a particular example of this woman called Linda Buonanno, and she suffered really badly from IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, so much so that she couldn't leave the house for weeks. So, obviously incredibly severe IBS. And she signed up for this trial that was what's classed as an honest placebo. So you have the label on the bottle, it's a placebo, but you take it anyway, fully well knowing that you're not taking the active ingredients. And the amazing thing is that the honest placebos, in her case, they worked so incredibly well that she was able to carry on with her life as if nothing was wrong with her, which is bizarre. Not only are you not taking the medicine, but you're knowingly taking a placebo, and it still tricks your brain into thinking that you're doing something physical towards managing the symptoms of that ailment.
So
which does kind of it pulls into question a little bit whether the medicine is actually effective in the first place. But anyway,
I mean, yeah,
you wouldn't want to say it's not because I'm a technical professional. I know that a lot of people get in trouble for blaming all mainstream medicine.
We don't want to be those people online who say don't take medicine.
100% not. Quite the opposite.
But it is worth noting that there is a big industry now built around trying to persuade you to take medicine.
It's big business, of course. Yeah. So
that's really potent example of how a placebo might actually be more effective than the real thing.
No, exactly. Able to carry on with her life as was, which is amazing. And of course, this honest placebo is inevitably more ethical. Like this,
right? Yeah.
You're not lying to someone about the medicine they're taking, or preventing someone from taking the active ingredients. So it's amazing to know that there is actually some benefit of knowing it, even though you've got your cards turned over, so to speak, showing your hand. Yeah.
It's funny because this goes back to something that Professor Kapchuk from Harvard was saying in his study. He was saying that he believes that part of the placebo effect is actually a result of the ritual, as he puts it, of receiving treatment. So just the mere fact of being summoned to a clinical environment with a team of medical professionals giving you medicine and observing you and asking how you're doing, are you feeling any better, what's going on, just that kind of ritual, he says, could be part of the placebo effect. It's not just the pill. It's even if you go home and take the pills with you and administer them to yourself alone at home, it's the knowledge that somebody has prescribed it to you and somebody is interested in knowing the result on the other side. That perception of being looked after can just improve, trigger the dopamine effect, the endorphins that make you feel better. And of course, in the case that you just described, with very potent results, which is interesting because I feel like that boils down to exactly the same argument that a lot of social justice campaigners make in terms of how to improve our society. They say, let's pass laws, let's construct a welfare state, social security system that just provides some basic care, even an acknowledgement of the most vulnerable people in society. And just the mere fact of that will improve their lives because they will feel recognized. And it's the importance of, I guess, like Pride Day, things like that. Just some kind of official, like, hey, we see you.
Yeah, someone's invested in helping you out, making things better for you, regardless of what the actual treatment is. Yeah.
You don't feel neglected.
At the same time, I would like to... I think there's a trap that you can fall into of saying for everyone that, it's all just in your head. If you had a positive mental attitude, then your ailments would go away, which in a lot of cases is not true. But there is something to be said for the placebo, and as you say, having that investment, believing that you are going to get better regardless of what the medication is.
I mean, you could also argue ignorance is bliss is kind of the same thing. Like there's some famous examples of actors. Is it like Buster Keaton, famous, silent movie star who did loads of his own very dangerous stunts in these spectacular silent films, jumping off trains, having buildings fall down around him. And I think, I want to say Gary Cooper, but it could be Randolph Scott. One of those broke their necks, fractured a spinal vertebrae. And neither of them noticed, and went through their lives
that's
until a medical examination later on.
Like your necks fused together.
You broke your back at some point, and it's just fused back together. And he's like, my back has been aching for all.
It's a bit of a twinge,
it's not been great. But because they didn't realize they'd done something to themselves, they just got on with life. I'm just like, I'm just going to get on with stuff. I've got a bit of a backache today. So it's kind of the same thing. I wonder, with those kind of relatively minor problems, maybe knowing you've got a problem can be part of the problem. You feel inhibited because you're like, I've got this problem and nobody's looking after me. But then the placebo effect is I'm being cared for and my problem will get solved. Obviously, it won't be cured by the placebo, as the professor said. But maybe just the fact of that allows you to kind of frees you mentally to get on with life.
Oh, yeah, I mean, potentially the kind of person that knowingly and willingly takes the placebo, knowing that it's a placebo, is the kind of person that's maybe is possibly in a better state to do all the other things that lead to a healthy existence anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like they're more likely to be active and go out and, live their life with less care and maybe do exercise, to eat properly. I don't know. Maybe there's something to be said for that as well. Not diminishing, of course, people that can't do those things or are restricted. But maybe there's something in that.
No, you're quite right, and actually, maybe that is a potential flaw in the studies, that these people who have willingly said, "Yeah, I'll do your study where you take a placebo," are already kind of predisposed to benefit.
Person.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'll take your placebo. Whereas if you're really desperate and in terrible condition, you might be more inclined to be like, "Give me the real thing, please. I don't want your placebos. I want the real thing." Yeah, that's a good point. Actually,
a thought anyway.
I wonder how they screen these people for these tests.
Yes.
Well, one of the interesting things about this is that this research, in particular, a doctor whose name I'll almost certainly mispronounce, from the University of Maryland, Dr. Luana Koloka, I think I got that wrong. She's done placebo research and she's applied what she's learned into virtual reality. And she's been part of studies, and there was one, the results of which were published in 2022, of the effects of virtual reality treatment, particularly on cancer sufferers. Because obviously people undergoing cancer treatment, and because they've got cancer as well, are often very limited physically because of the toll the treatment takes on their bodies. So virtual reality is a good way to give them the kind of experiences they can't get physically. So in these cases, the trials, I should say, clinical trials, they gave them virtual reality headsets, and then they had programs of like going to the mountains or being on the sea, being in the countryside, those kind of things, doing something fun, like being in a park where people are playing around you. And you're just, obviously with virtual reality, you put your headphones on, you put your headset on, and you don't know that you're in your living room. You just kind of, you get transported. And the results were very promising. Studies found that using the VR headsets improved mood, increased well-being, and most importantly, perhaps in terms of measurable results, decreased stress levels. And as a result, the argument is that their quality of life was improved because they were less miserable. And
I can understand that. I mean, that is a treatment, though, isn't it? Is that a placebo? I'm not sure it is.
Well, yeah. But what's interesting is that
it's just an alternative type of treatment that isn't. They're not physically active, but if their minds think, I guess if their mind, it's a trick being played, right? They believe they're being physically active or they're immersed in physical activity through the VR headset, then it's almost as good as the real thing in terms of kind of the mental state and the stress levels.
Well, that's what I found interesting, and I wanted to bring it up because this VR headset treatment has arisen from people who studied placebos and thought by manipulating essentially the brain, you can trigger it to release the hormones that make you feel good and can help you feel less pain and generally feel better about yourself. So why don't we apply that to some of the people who are in the worst pain, cancer sufferers, and the results are really positive. But that seems like a roundabout way of coming to the conclusion that mental health therapy works.
Yes.
And you get all this, we've heard it for years, of people saying humans need to have green spaces in their big concrete jungles because we're animals of the world, and the world, concrete doesn't occur naturally. Brick isn't a thing in nature. You need to have some greenery. And similarly, fresh air is good for people. They feel better. Gentle exercise, sometimes hardcore exercise, makes people feel good. So it feels like it's a roundabout way of saying people just need to look after themselves. And ultimately, the takeaway I have, I don't like that phrase, but the lesson I learned from these studies, having looked at them, is that the placebo effect in terms of pain relief management and like cutting it with drugs and giving people an honest placebo instead of the real thing is essentially that age-old advice of look after yourself. Don't worry, essentially. Try. And it's like, ultimately, it seems like a lot of people's problems are exacerbated by feeling abandoned, by feeling limited, by feeling miserable. And there are these things you can do, relatively simple, which can help you feel better in yourself. And that can have a physical effect for the better in terms of pain management. Unfortunately, that seems to be the limit. It's only pain management in terms of the physical effect. You will feel good, or rather you'll feel better and you'll feel less pain, but you're still going to be in pain if you've got a long-term health condition. And, that cancer isn't going to go away by having a placebo. You're still going to need all the other treatments.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Concisely put. Very good, Robin.
Oh, well, thank
very
you.
Good
thank
indeed.
you very much. There is, of course, the opposite of a placebo.
What?
I mean, actually, this is kind of interesting. I'm sorry. This is interesting. Kind of interesting. The name of the podcast. Kind of interesting.
This is kind of interesting. Oh, yeah, the nocebos you're talking about. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all. I guess it's not quite the opposite of placebo, is it? But it's the idea that if you have negative expectations of an event or of something happening, it's quite a broad way of putting it, but you'd be more likely to your mental state and actually your physical pain will be more likely to adhere to those thoughts, right? So an example that's been given is of a builder who jumped on a 15 centimeter nail. That's a huge nail, isn't it?
Oh.
And it pierced his foot on a spike. Went through his foot, and he was in bits, mate. He was screaming, crying. Had to be sedated with fentanyl, so really strong opioid painkillers, and then. The medical doctors were like, okay, we've got to be careful here, but we've got to take off his boot and see what the hell's going on. And it turns out that the nail hadn't gone through his foot, but had gone between his toes, and he had just seen the site of the nail up through his boot and believed that it had gone through his foot, and felt supposedly the pain that he would have felt if it had gone through his foot. So there was this negative expectation of what that pain would feel like influenced the real pain he felt.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is mad. And there are videos online of this as well. You can see people when they, they're hitting a fake hand with a hammer, they gently tap the real hand, and then they like smack the fake hand that they put in its place. And they believe that they've been hitting the hand with a hammer and say that they felt the actual pain, right? So the expectation of that feeling directly influences the physical response. Yeah,
I mean that proves beyond doubt, right, that pain is purely mental.
Well, and that's
bad
physiological, physiological as well, right? Nerve receptors and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Is that Andrew Tate's little? Leg shagger. But yes.
It is. Well, what's that? Is it psychosomatic? That phenomenon of symptoms that aren't actually physical. It's like a psychosomatic limp would be something where you've developed a limp, but actually your muscles are fine. It's just that your brain thinks you've got a problem, so you limp. But actually, there's nothing wrong with the muscles in your leg. It's perfectly normal.
That's it.
Yeah. It's funny how it's scary how powerful the brain is. I think I've said this before on the podcast, something else, completely unrelated topic to this, but it scares me just how much the brain, if something goes slightly wrong with the brain, your entire body, your entire life, your existence is affected,
Yes, so fragile, isn't it? In terms
and so powerful at the same
time. The ecosystem, yeah. I mean, and of course, when this comes to medicine as well, if you look at if you spend ages looking at all the side effects, and it says that you might feel nauseous after taking it, you're more likely to think that you feel nauseous after taking it, right? Because you see it as a side effect. So it must be terrible for Americans when they're watching all those medical ads and it reels off like 50,000 side effects. Have you watched American medical.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I haven't.
Oh my goodness,
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, really quickly, and then at the end, it's always may cause death. And it's like
may cause death.
Yeah, may cause death. Yeah, it always ends with may cause death. Good band name. And so yeah, I think there's probably something to that, isn't there? If you don't feel like it could possibly make you feel unwell or nauseous, then it probably won't. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, go back.
Without
bliss,
without underplaying.
Yeah.
Without underplaying kind of
Yeah.
people's real physical ailments and symptoms, of course. But
yeah, of course.
I imagine there's something to it.
Yeah, that's as you said earlier, but kind of problem with a discussion like this and the placebo phenomenon in general is that you're treading that fine line when discussing it between saying people need to toughen up and get on with things.
Yes, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah,
I know it's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just there isn't an extent to which, or a degree to which, at least in some people, but maybe everybody, because we all have brains, the kind of physiological effects of pain are produced artificially, for lack of a better term, by the brain, as opposed to actually being anything wrong with our bodies. And I've done that. I know I've had that on occasion, where COVID was a reminder of this. Yeah, when you've had a really bad flu or whatever, and you think, I can't do that, I've got too much flu. And then after I caught COVID, I got flu again, and I was just like, compared to COVID, this feels fine. Yeah, I can go redecorate the kitchen despite my flu. I can do anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you've had that really bad experience, the next time you have a almost as bad experience, like, yeah, I feel fine.
Yeah.
But the lesson there, of course, is that my wife quite wisely was saying, no, rest and look after yourself, because once you're better and you go back to work, you are not going to be able to cope because you haven't given your body a full rest. So that's the fine line, isn't it? With the placebos. The placebos are there to help you manage the pain, but they will not actually make you better. So you shouldn't push it. And that is Robin's lesson for the day.
Wonderful.
Oh, dear.
Brilliant. Now, let us know what your thoughts are on the placebo at home. Have you been in I'm interested to know if anyone's been in a trial with placebos.
Yeah.
We talk about them a lot, don't they? There's always placebo studies, but it'd be interesting to know if anyone's especially been in the placebo side of the study. Even though, do they even reveal that at the end? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let us know if you're in an honest placebo study.
Yeah.
And whether you're in a dishonest placebo
lied to.
study. Yeah. I mean, also question: would you do that if you were given the chance? Would you do the honest placebo thing, or would you not? I think, depending on the drug, right? For me, it would depend on the circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, would you like to take the placebo or the opioid? I'd be like, I'll risk the placebo.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of them are with like up and coming medicines, right? The new drugs that they're trialing. And so there's often people do it because they're like, oh, if I get in the actual group that gets the actual physical drug, it might help my ailments. And maybe it's just as good to be in a placebo sometimes. That's what these studies are suggesting.
Yeah, it's true.
On occasion. So, yeah. Interesting, though. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, let us know what you think. And would you like to hear the answer to the riddle?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I suspect you've got it.
I was a little bit worried when you were like, this should be easy, and like, oh yeah, no, you got this. But I think I've got it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a bit of wordplay on those letters, but go for it.
A bit of a reminder to those who may have forgotten. The riddle is: where is the only place where today comes before yesterday? Martin, what's your guess?
I think it's in a dictionary.
Oh, and you'd be spot on.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Clever clogs.
Yes. Wow.
Well done.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That's quite nice, actually. That's quite nice.
I do kind of miss. I never thought I'd say this, but the ancient riddles. We need to.
Yeah.
The ancient ones. We need to get.
I'll confess. I was going
sprinkled.
to dig one out for you, but I need to thoroughly read that because some of them literally don't have answers. So I need to make a list of the ones that have answers.
It's also good if there's more than one person trying to guess because they are difficult. Like,
Yeah, it
Otherwise
puts you on the
could just be
spot a bit,
stumped.
doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
here's a 15-line, minute-and-a-half recitation of a translation of an Old English riddle. Now
Good
answer
luck.
it.
Yeah. Bonne chance, monsieur.
Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for sharing your feelings and your thoughts, if you do, in the comments below on YouTube, or send us a message via Twitter at JInterestingYT, or give us a review on your podcast platform of choice if the option is there. Please do give us a review. It's always helpful to know what you think and which platform you listen to us on. So please do send us them. We do look at them, I promise.
Fantastic. It also helps us out as well, gets us up those those rankings apparently. Yeah, actually get more people to listen to the pod.
Yeah, anyway, give us a like, share us with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. Give us a like, ping that like button, smash that like button.
Smash it. Well,
wonderful.
Ciao for now. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.